The sound of porcelain shattering against marble silenced the entire cafe. Told the copyright. For a heartbeat, nobody moved. Hot coffee bled across the white floor like a spreading wound, steam rising between trembling shoes. A little girl stood frozen beside the fallen cup, her tiny fingers still curled as if she could rewind time and catch it. Across from her, a man in an expensive blazer loud enough to cut through the soft jazz playing overhead. And a single father kneeling to clean the mess did not look up. Hey, not yet. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet strength of good fathers trying their best, take a second to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this matter because real life is full of moments we don't see coming. Ethan Cole had once moved through chaos like it was choreography. Years ago, in places the public would never see, he had been part of classified unit operating under the umbrella of the legendary Delta Force. His name had never appeared in headlines. His medals sat in a drawer collecting dust. The world knew nothing about him, and he preferred it that way. Now he moved slower, not because he couldn't move fast, but because beside him stood his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, who still needed help tying her shoes and still believed the world was gentle. The Café tilde copyright in downtown Chicago was warm and buzzing that afternoon. Outside, winter wind scrapped across skyscrapers. Inside, students typed on laptops, couples leaned over latte trays, and businessmen talked too loudly about markets and mergers. Ethan had chosen a small table near the window, away from the noise. Lily sat opposite him, swinging her legs under the chair, her dark curls bouncing every time she smiled. They had made this their ritual. Every Saturday after Lily's art class, they shared hot chocolate and a blueberry muffin. It was their way of pressing pause on a life that had become fragile after Lily's mother passed away 3 years earlier. Since then, Ethan had been father, mother, protector, teacher, everything. Grief had reshaped him. It carved patience into his bones. It taught him softness he had never needed in uniform. Lily reached for her cup that day, her small hand knocking it instead. The mug tipped, rolled, and exploded against the floor. Gasps echoed. Ethan was already kneeling before the laughter began. The laughter came from a table of 3 men in tailored suits, the loudest of them a broad-shouldered, slick hair, a gold watch flashing under Café tilde copyright lights. He leaned back in his chair and shook his head with theatrical disgust. He said something under his breath that made his friend smirk. Then he spoke louder, his voice dripping with mock sympathy about careless kids and single parents who couldn't manage basic responsibility. Ethan kept his eyes on the floor as he gathered shards carefully, shielding Lily's shoes from broken edges. He felt her small fingers clutch his jacket. He heard the man's voice rising again, mocking how some men just aren't built to handle real life. A few customers shifted uncomfortably. Nobody intervened. Ethan's jaw tightened, but he remained still. He had learned restraint in places where restraint meant survival. He had learned that pride was loud but strength was quiet. And right now, his daughter's trembling mattered more than any insult. He finished cleaning and stood slowly. Lily looked up at him with glassy eyes, her lip quivering. He brushed the curl from her face and whispered something only she could hear. She nodded, but the man in the blazer wasn't finished. The bully stood up now, towering, fueled by attention. He made a show of walking toward them, offering exaggerated advice about discipline. His friends watched eagerly, phones tilted discreetly, a recording. There's something about humiliation that hits differently when your child is watching. It isn't just about you anymore. It's about the example you set. It's about what your silence teaches. Ethan inhaled slowly. He remembered another room years ago, a darker, louder, filled with smoke and chaos, where men twice his size had tried to overpower him. He remembered the rhythm of movement drilled into muscle memory, the awareness of every exit, every threat, every heartbeat. The bully stepped closer, invading space, pushing the line between teasing and intimidation. He reached out, flicking at the damp edge of Ethan's jacket as if it disgusted him. And that was when something shifted. Not anger, not rage, clarity. Ethan moved. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't dramatic, it was efficient. In one fluid motion, he stepped aside, redirected the man's extended arm with a subtle twist, and applied controlled pressure at the wrist and elbow. The bully's smirk evaporated as his body lost balance. Within seconds, he found himself face down against the table, his own momentum working against him, his arm pinned in a precise lock that hurt just enough to command respect but not enough to cause injury. Gasps erupted again, but this time they weren't amused. Ethan's stance was grounded, calm, almost relaxed. His eyes scanned the room instinctively, assessing threats that weren't there. He spoke quietly, firmly, so only the man beneath him could hear. There was no profanity, no yelling, just a clear warning wrapped in restraint. The entire cafe till the copyright had gone silent. Even the jazz had ended. The bully's friends half rose from their seats but hesitated. Something about Ethan's posture told them everything they needed to know. This wasn't a bar fight. This wasn't ego. This was controlled power. Within moments, Ethan released the hold and stepped back. The man stumbled upright, red-faced, shaken. His confidence had drained like spilled coffee across tile. Ethan didn't boast. He didn't threaten. He simply adjusted his jacket, picked up Lily's backpack, and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. And then, the unexpected happened. Lily tugged at his sleeve and whispered something that made him kneel again. She wrapped her small arms around his neck, holding him tightly. The entire cafe till the copyright watched as the fierce, composed man melted into a father again, hugging his daughter like she was the only thing anchoring him to this world. The bully avoided eye contact. He returned to his table in silence. His friends no longer laughed, but the moment didn't end there. An elderly woman seated nearby began to clap softly. Another joined. Soon, the room filled with applause, not for violence, but for dignity, for restraint, for the way Ethan had defended himself without escalating, for the way he had protected his daughter without losing control. A barista approached with fresh hot chocolate. On the house. Ethan hesitated, then nodded in gratitude. He sat back down with Lily, hands steady now. She looked at him differently, not with fear, but with awe. He smiled gently, careful not to let pride replace humility. Later that evening, a short video of the incident surfaced online. Someone had recorded the moment Ethan moved at the speed, the precision. The caption speculated wildly. Comments flooded in. Some recognized the technique, noting it resembled advanced military close-quarters combat training associated with elite units like Delta Force. Ethan didn't read it. He was too busy helping Lily with her homework. But the video reached someone unexpected, a former teammate who hadn't seen Ethan in years. A message followed, then a phone call. Old bonds reignited. An opportunity surfaced not to return to combat, but to train young veterans transitioning to civilian life, to teach discipline, restraint, and emotional resilience. Life had shifted again. The cafe till the copyright incident didn't make Ethan famous. It didn't turn him into a public hero. It simply reminded him and everyone watching that strength doesn't need noise. Months later, Ethan and Lily returned to the same cafe till the copyright. The staff greeted them warmly. The table near the window was waiting. The world hadn't magically become kinder, but something in that room had changed that day. A man who thrived on belittling others had been confronted not by aggression, but by composure. And the little girl had learned that courage isn't about fighting, it's about standing tall when someone tries to make you feel small. Before this story ends, if it touched your heart even a little, if it reminded you of a father, a mentor, or someone who protected you when you felt vulnerable, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes in quiet strength, and subscribe for more stories that matter. And I have one special request for you: comment the word respect below if you believe true strength is measured by control, not cruelty. Because here's the truth. The world will always have bullies, but it will also have fathers who wake up every day carrying invisible battles, who swallow pride for the sake of their children, who choose restraint when anger would be easier. Ethan never told Lily about the missions. He never described the nights filled with gunfire or the friends he lost. To her, he was simply Dad, the man who packed lunches, braided messy curls when he tried his best, and knew exactly how to make hot chocolate taste perfect. And maybe that was the greatest legacy of all. Not the medals hidden in a drawer, not the legend whispered online, but the quiet moment in a cafe tilde copyright where a single father showed his daughter that dignity is louder than humiliation, a broken bar, and that real power is moving through the world with control, compassion, and unshakable love. Sometimes the strongest men are the ones kneeling on the floor, cleaning up spilled coffee until the moment comes to stand.